Hello and welcome, my friends, to another episode of the Let's Make Synthwave show. Today is episode number 10, and as we always do, we have something special prepared. Today I will be starting making music with an 8-bar loop, or creating an 8-bar loop during the first 60 minutes of our show, and on the second half, the next 60 minutes, I'll turn that 8-bar loop into a quick and dirty arrangement of around 40 bars, which is, I don't know, like a minute and a half or so of music. And today, we're going to be using something that I call MacGyver's rule to write and create our music. So let's get to it. So first things first, who is MacGyver? If you aren't a child of the 80s, like myself, MacGyver was an American TV show that aired in 1985, or started in 1985, about this dude, MacGyver, who worked for a corporation called the Phoenix Foundation, and he was sent to different places on different missions to save people, to save situations. Like there was this greedy corporation trying to, I don't know, steal the reservation from Indians, or pollute the water, or someone was being wronged. They would send this dude to help out. Now, MacGyver, he had military training, he had ample knowledge of applied physics, he had superb engineering skills, he always carried a Swiss Army knife, and he was never violent. He never used violence, and he never used a gun. So, the funny thing and the interesting thing was that MacGyver would be sent on these missions, and he would have to fend off the bad guys, protect himself, get out of these huge problems, by just using whatever was available lying around. Like he would be, they would lock him up in a closet, in a broom closet. Then he would get his Swiss Army knife, get a broom and a rope, and I don't know, like an empty Coke can or whatever, and he would blow up the door and escape. Right. So this is the kind of thing that he would always do in the show. He was super, super resourceful. And now coming back to synthwave and what we're gonna do today, talking about MacGyver's rule, he always used what was lying around, okay? And he made decisions very quickly. He never wished to have, I don't know, whatever, to stop the bad guys. He just looked around and made use of whatever he saw, whatever he had on hand, right? He made it work. So, MacGyver's rule, which I created, states, let me see where I have it written down. The rule is, use what you have and make decisions quickly. This is very important. I'm going to repeat it. Use what you have and make decisions quickly. I'm going to break it down. Just going to talk about this for a minute or two, then we'll get right into making music. Use what you have means use whatever drum samples you have. They'll be perfect. The first one that comes to mind, 707, Lindrum, Lin 9000, Simmons, whatever. You can make it work. Bass patch. You're looking for a bass. The first, second, or third bass patch that you try out, make a decision quickly, right? Don't spend 40 minutes trying to find the perfect bass patch, because it's all a waste of time, okay? Use what you have. Don't wish for something else. Make do with whatever you have. And part of it, make decisions quickly. Again, don't spend 40 minutes looking for the perfect kick drum, the perfect snare, the perfect hi-hat, because once you know what happens once you've spent an hour looking for those 3 perfect samples. Then you go, oh, but I now need EQ. Okay, and then you spend another hour just figuring out the EQ, and then you say, hey, you know what? Now I need the perfect compressor to get the perfect sound before I can start making music. And it's like on and on and on. It drags out, and you end up not making anything, or you end up spending like so much time preparing to make music, or in this phase where it doesn't really matter the EQ or the compression settings, or it doesn't really matter what drum samples you're using. And you waste all of your energy and all of your creativity and motivation in stuff that doesn't matter. And what I find most of the time is that if I just randomly pick something, I don't know, like Roland 707, which is what we're going to use today, I think. And instead of trying to find the perfect samples, I just say, you know, F this. I'm just going to use this. Whatever happens, happens. Once I start choosing my synths and my sounds, and I work around the decisions that I'm making, so I make a decision very quickly, and whatever I do then will complement that decision, where the place where I end up, I don't need to go back and change the drums because everything now falls into place and everything works just fine, right? Or I also happen to find that the thing that was really bothering me, like I really need to get a better bass sound. Once I create my main stack and turn it into music, I go like, hey, you know what? This isn't such a bad bass sound after all, right? And I saved myself from wasting tons of hours just looking for the perfect bass sound. So MacGyver's rule is use what you have and make decisions quickly. So you gotta learn the skill of creating a main stack, like I'm gonna show you, an 8-bar loop with 4 or 5 elements, bass, drums, a pad, an arp, and maybe some kind of lead very quickly in an hour or so. If you're spending more than an hour to creating your initial main stack, you're doing it wrong, to be honest. You're doing it wrong, right? You shouldn't take that much time to create what I'm gonna create. And I'm talking through it and explaining all my decisions. So really, if I weren't talking about it, it could take me 30 minutes or less to create what I'm gonna show you during the first half of the show. So it's a great skill to develop, to use what you have, make decisions quickly, and just run with it, make things work. It doesn't matter. And in the end, have fun, because this is what it's all about. I don't know what we're gonna do today. As I was taking a shower a couple hours ago, because it's the morning in Costa Rica, I have music in my head, which I'll tell you about, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have no idea, I have no plan. Whatever happens, happens, and let's just have fun and let's see where it goes. Okay, all right, my friends. Here it goes, and I'm gonna be repeating this a lot as we go along. MacGyver's rule: use what you have, make decisions quickly. Cool, so this is my DAW. Oh, my coffee went cold. Right. Presonus Studio One, in case you wondered. So, today, I don't know what we're gonna do. I have a vague idea. The other day, I watched this awesome documentary on Netflix about how the song We Are the World was written and produced in one night, at least the production and the recording, not the actual writing of the song. It's an awesome documentary. If you can find it on Netflix or everywhere, it's like mind-boggling seeing Michael Jackson record vocals and Lionel Richie and all of these guys. In any case, for whatever reason, after watching that documentary, I have like this, the Thriller Michael Jackson beat stuck in my head. So I'm not gonna remake that, but somehow get into that funky vibe a little bit. I'm not gonna go into full on remaking that. I'm just gonna take a little bit of inspiration, which is something that I really recommend you do. Watch a lot of movies, shows, and listen to things that inspire you and say, let me try to do something in that kind of vein without remaking it properly. Cool. So for this is our tempo, 120 BPM. Maybe it's just a little bit too fast. 118, that works well. And I arbitrarily picked E minor as the key for our track. You can pick any scale or key that you know, or you can challenge yourself and pick a key or a scale that you don't know. But just a quick tip, try to look at the scale and the chords before so you don't end up picking a scale or key that has double flats and a bunch of flats or a bunch of sharps, which can be quite confusing at times. So in any case, this is our tempo, 118 BPM. All right, and like I said, MacGyver's rule, I'm just gonna pick something and run along with it. Okay, so this track I don't need. Oops. Okay, my drums, I'm just gonna go for Roland 707, trusty Roland 707 samples, for whatever reason. I don't care. I like this one, it's more punchy. Oops. Okay, the snare, I think there's 2. And I'm looking at this is the Synthwave Dojo free 80 sample pack. You can find it at synthwavedojo.com/downloads. And I'm presented here with 3 choices of a snare drum. That's the one I'm going for. Very quickly. I don't care, guys. I'm gonna make this work. It doesn't matter, really. Hi-hat closed. This one, or this one, this one. There we go. Open, there's only one choice. Collapse. There's only one choice. What about the crash? And I could have done this beforehand, but I just wanted to spend these 2 minutes showing you how I can quickly select drum samples, drum sounds, just to get things going. It's not like I spent an hour preparing for this very, very quickly. And we'll make things work. Whatever gets thrown our way, we'll deal with it. MacGyver style. And just as a side note, here in Costa Rica, the show was so popular when I was a kid, I'm a kid of the 80s, that it became vernacular. Like people would say, hey, who do you think you are, MacGyver? Or, you know what, we gotta fix this. Let's MacGyver this thing. Hand me a Swiss Army knife and whatever. Pretty funny stuff. Shaker, do we have a shaker here? Clap. No. Well, I'm gonna pick a tambourine. Oh, you know what? What about a cowbell? Okay, cool. And that's it. That's my drum selection. Easy. 2 minutes maybe while I was talking about all of this. Easy peasy stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I really don't care. So I don't want to invest too much time into it. Okay, that's a default groove that I have here on my template, but I'm gonna do something different. For now, just a good old kick on the 1 and 3, snare on the 2 and 4, a typical rock and roll backbeat. Okay, cool. All right. So for now, I'm just going to loop this 4-bar loop. Let me just check the levels real quickly. I like to anchor my kick at -6 dBFS. It's just a preference of mine that helps me consistently mix all my productions. You could arbitrarily pick another level that in your DAW is clearly shown. So for example, here, -6 is clearly shown. If I had picked -10, I don't know where -10 is. I can't see it, right? So part of it is preference, part of it is just being arbitrary. I could have picked -12. Here, I have -6 and -12, which I can clearly see. So you can pick whatever you want. All right, cool. Next up, I'm gonna come back around to do the drums later. But now let's get a bass going. And again, MacGyver's rule. I'm gonna arbitrarily pick the Juno 6 by Arturia. I know that I have a lot of patches here that I've made. So I know that I will find something, and if not, I can create a patch for my bass very, very quickly. Okay, so here I'm gonna go into my sound banks, user, sort this thing. I have a bunch of, and I love my fat line bass kind of patch, and I have like so many of these here. Or do I? Okay, what if we use this Italo Disco patch? Cool, I love it. It'll work. All right, and like I said, I kind of have Michael Jackson's Thriller on my mind. So I'm gonna steal his bass line, at least parts of the pattern, and create something for my track. And the bass pattern goes something like, at least rhythmically, boom 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 boom, 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 over and over and over and over and over and over throughout the entire thing. So let's do something similar. We said we're in the key of E minor. And it's always important when you fire up a bass patch to find out the lowest note you can use where the patch still sounds okay. For example, here, this is a very low E, still sounds good to me. The D, possibly. The C, maybe. But this B, A, and G, they are too low. I can't hear any difference in pitch between them. where it's very hard to hear, right? Now, if I were to use this octave, it may not provide the bass support that I need, but in any case, I'm going to start right now and figure it out as I go along. So we said something like dun 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 dun. So I'm going to do something exactly like that. Oops. Bum 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 bum. Oh, that's cool. Like that. It's not exactly, but it's inspired on Michael Jackson's Thriller. Cool. And what I can do here is create like a pickup note here towards the end of the second bar. Ba-dum-bum. Like that. Cool. All right. Let's duplicate this thing. And this is our bass pattern, at least from a rhythmic perspective, since the track is in E minor. I just arbitrarily wanted to start my progression on E minor. Okay, now we're not going to stay on E throughout the whole time, throughout the whole piece, so what do? We could do something very simple. We start on E minor, go somewhere else, come back to E minor, and do something different. Or we could do E minor, something else, something else, something else, and back to E minor. Right now, following MacGyver's rule, use what you have, make decisions quickly. Let me try out going from E minor to G major, which is the relative major of the minor key. Okay, I think that'll work. And let's do something different on the fourth bar. D maybe? Sounds good. Is this the bestest, most awesomest bass line you've ever heard? No. And I don't care. I'm just moving forward, using what I have, make decisions quickly. Just trying out if it felt better in a higher octave. It doesn't. At least not for now, so I'm just gonna run with the idea. All right, cool. That's what we have in terms of bass and at least the basic drum groove. Let's work on the drums for a few minutes. When it comes to funk, rock, and pop, it's a good idea to support most, if not all, of your bass notes with a kick hit. Of course, you can pick and choose, but try to make sure that the strongest notes or accents from the bass are supported by a kick drum hit. In this case, let's edit this bass drum pattern. I'm not going to follow the entire bass exactly. If you remember Thriller, I think the kick does something like it's almost only on the downbeats. So it doesn't follow all the notes of the bass, but only the strongest downbeats on bars 1 and 3. Like so. Like so. And we can introduce a little bit of variation here. not here. This one. Cool. Okay, actually, let me get rid of this. What if we added this note right here? No, I don't like it. Okay. Cool, that'll work. Now let's think of a hi-hat pattern. The original Thriller had a little bit of hi-hat movement, meaning it wasn't just straight eights or playing the upbeats or the downbeats. There was a little bit of movement there, like something like that. So let's do something similar. I like it. And let's turn this one into an open hi-hat. And let me create an additional note here. Just to introduce a little bit more funk. Oops. There. I like it. I just felt here that there was a weird space, a weird gap in the pattern that I wanted to fill. I like it. That'll do. Cool. I think we have a nice groove going. Nice. Let me add a little bit of reverb to the snare. I love this plugin. It's very simple. I have just a plate option and room option, so I'm going to go with plate. And then just the size and the time. I don't have any specific values for milliseconds and pre-delay and this and that. So I think that's why I like it, because it's very simple. So I'm going to go with, I think, medium size, kind of short on time. Flat, and let's take a listen. I'll play with the mix knob. Let's make this shorter. Oh, nice. This is very nice and tight. And maybe just a little bit bigger. That's too long. But I like this, sounding great. And also, the hats are sounding a little dry. So what I'm gonna do, I already have this room reverb effects return. So I'm gonna fire up this same plugin. I'm gonna set it to room mode, kind of medium here, medium. Mix all the way to 100%. Flat, give it a little bit of pre-delay, like 20 milliseconds. And I'm gonna send from my hats to the room reverb. Not so much. I just want to give the hats a little bit of the liveliness. without it. Super dry and up in my face. Okay, and while I'm here, let me EQ the reverb. I always EQ my reverb. Apply a high pass filter to around 200 or 300 hertz. I don't need a bunch of all the low frequencies and low mids in the reverb. It'll muddy up my mix. And very often I take away the highs, a lot of highs, so it doesn't sound like a cheap reverb. So just a high cut at around 5K or so. And again, I'm making decisions quickly. Use what you have, run with it. Okay, cool. I think we're in very good shape. Now, regarding this bass, I have a high pass at 60 hertz. For now, I'm gonna leave it like that, but I wanna apply just a little bit of compression or limiting to give the bass more body and to place it solidly in the mix so it doesn't move anywhere. And here this is an emulation of an LA2A plugin. It doesn't have the attack and release parameters that most compressors have. So this is very simple. Just twist this knob or turn the knob to increase the compression and then make up the gain with this other knob. Getting between 7 and 10 sounds good to me, and I'm using it in limiting mode. And I'll bring back the gain to where it was. Cool. All right, I don't know if you guys are feeling it, but I'm feeling it very much. All right, this is our foundation, and I'm very happy. I think we may need some chords. And for that, same decision, use what you have, make decisions quickly. Now, use what you have. If you look over here, just look at my Arturia folder, I have like 30 synths, okay? G-Force, 2 additional synths, Korg, like 8 synths, plus 10 other synths here and there, and native instruments like 4. I have around 40 synths or even more. That's what I have. So if I spend energy trying to figure out the best one, we'll be here until next Christmas. So arbitrary decision, whatever I'm feeling, let's go with the Juno. Same thing, same deal. Nothing's perfect. Let's just run with it. See what happens. And same as bass, I have a bunch of presets that I could use. Now, do I want some kind of pad or like keys? Let's go with this. Oh, and the other thing, my MIDI controller is still in the shop, so I can play the patches as I'm browsing them. So I'm just gonna have to, choose blindly, then see what I can do with this. This will work. Let me just get rid of the delay and the reverb. And I'll add it back later. But yeah, is this a perfect patch? I don't know. It's good enough for now. What do I want to do with this? Keys. All right. I definitely want to follow with the rhythm that the bass is creating. Something like that, maybe. And I'm gonna start my progression. I forgot what it is, so let me show the bass pattern on my keys lane. Okay, so it's E minor, G, E minor, D. Cool. So let's assume that my first chord is going to be D. I'd like it to be D minor 7, actually. So we have that D, G, and B. This is what makes up G minor 7. Too long? Okay, what if I went with normal E for now? Okay, cool. Duplicate this. There we go. But if I followed that same pattern, then just change the chords. But let's turn this into G major 7. So I'm going to add the F sharp, this one. Oops, no, not a good voicing. Maybe this one. For whatever reason, am I doing something wrong here? We have F sharp, G major, E minor. Yeah, we do have F sharp, then why does it sound so awful? It doesn't matter, I'll fix it in a bit. And these are the problems that come up that we solve during the composition and arrangement process. Just deal with it. Okay, this is D. So D, F sharp, A. Okay, sounding cool. Sounding all right. Let's work on the voicings. Okay, what if we went here with that D minor 7? There. Okay. I like it. This is G major 7, E minor 7. And this turns into D, E minor 7. And this one, this is the 5th degree. I don't want to use the dominant 7th. What if we went with a suspended chord? So we could suspend the F sharp either to and replace it with A or with E. Let's try it out for size. Oh, I like it. What about E? Not sure. MacGyver's rule. Use what you have, make decisions quickly. Let's go with the suspended 4th. All right, here's our whole thing. Let's give this thing a little bit of delay. Right out of the gate, this sounds very cool to me. Maybe with a little bit less feedback. Very cool. And similar to what I did with the shared reverb for the drums, I already have a Synthwave aux, return track, effects track, whatever. So I'm gonna drop another instance of pulse here. But for this, I want something bigger, like a hall kind of sound. So it's gonna be larger, longer time, mix 100%, pre-delay to 30 milliseconds or so. And I'm gonna send some of this keys pattern into that shared synth reverb. Without it, sounds good. It's just giving it more depth. And the same we did with the room reverb for the drums. Let me add an EQ here and cut away the lows and the highs. And I'm not being too picky here. I'm eyeballing it. There, it works. Okay, now maybe these keys are a little too loud. I'm really liking this. Let's add a compressor, that same LA2A emulation, again to make this pattern sonically more solid with more body. But I'm gonna use compress mode, not limit, and bring back the gain to where it was. This is just so the pattern is more controlled. There aren't notes like jumping out at you. It's more stable, more solid. Okay, I like this. Cool. This is very nice and not necessarily sounding like Thriller, right? If you know Thriller, you may say, oh, it reminds me a little bit, but it's not like this is a Thriller clone. Not a chance. This is my stuff, what I'm creating. I'm putting myself, all my choices, my preferences, my style into this. And very quickly, we're getting away from Thriller, and it's like taking a life of its own. Use what you have, make decisions quickly. All right. Let me create a crash here. Crash. Okay. Cool. That's the level of my crash. I'm gonna send it to my room reverb. And lately, something that I like to do very much is use like a ping pong delay on my crash, just so it keeps going and creates interest. Maybe that's too fast. What about quarter dotted note? No, that's too slow. What about straight eighths? Oh, it's too fast. Okay, let's go back to dotted eighth. Use what you have, make decisions quickly. I'm gonna go with that. Perfect. I don't know. I like it. It'll do. Okay, and what if we created some kind of clap, or this shaker, actually it's a cowbell. Let's use it. whatever. So I don't want my cowbell pattern to mimic what the bass is doing. I want to find certain places of rest where nothing is happening, where I can like fill in the gaps, fill in the space between certain notes. So when I use the cowbell as doing accents like that, then it sticks out more and complements the rest of the rhythm. Yeah, sorry about that, but I do need to listen to the music in order to come up with a pattern. Okay, I can hear it better now. We're here. Yeah, that'll work. But let's introduce a little bit of variation the second time around. Yeah, I think I like it. Cool. Let's send it to the reverb. Too much. Just a little bit. Cool. And if we want it to be really sneaky, we could also add some ping pong delay and create like this rhythmic 16th note pattern. Nice. Very cool. It does make a world of difference. Check this out. Cool. Dry, it's okay. But with a delay, nice. Alright guys, if there's a lot of lag, don't worry about it, because I will upload then my recorded session. Alright, we'll keep going. Okay, my main stacks for my music, I typically like to make them with 5 or 6 elements at the most. So we already have bass, drums, that's 2, the keys, 3. So I think I want to create some kind of lead and maybe a pad. Let's work on a pad. And let's see what we got. Sounds more like a lead than a pad. Okay, let's see. Brassy pad, dreamy pad. No, but let me make a decision quickly. Oh yeah, I think this one will work. Let me get rid of the reverb and the delay. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna do something very simple. Maybe not full chords. Possibly just 2 notes, a dyad, or maybe 1. I like this. And what if we did? Very cool. Let's send this pad to reverb as well. All right. Cool. This is sounding really good to my ears, my friends. Let's work on a lead. And I'm gonna go with what I have and make decisions quickly. Once more, Juno will save the day. Now, do I have any lead patches for this thing? Big leads, vibrato lead, Italo lead. Okay, let's try that. No delay, no reverb. about this one? Let's see. Maybe. Yeah, let's go with it and see what happens. This is our lead. For the lead, I'm going to try to follow the bass pattern as a starting point. Okay. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum. D, maybe? I like that. Okay, I'm gonna repeat the first phrase. Hold on. What did I do here? Okay. Okay, yeah, this one. Cool. So I did something, then I introduced repetition and a little variation. Let's repeat the first one again. And let's do a big variation on this one. Let's break the pattern of the staccato notes following the rhythm. Let's see. Okay. Or G. I'm just working out the rhythm. Alright, now let's give the rhythm different pitches. No, I don't like it. Oh, we're on D, so this should be A. Okay. I'm not convinced about this last phrase. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, I think it'll work. All right, let's just add a little bit of reverb to this part. And a little bit of delay. All right. And once again, the compressor, just to stabilize the level, give it more body and solidity. All right. So this is where we are, folks. I think this is sounding really, really good. All right. During the next half of the show, the next 60 minutes, I'm going to turn this 8-bar loop. Well, first of all, let me duplicate this and turn it into an actual 8-bar loop. All right, there we go. I'm going to take this main stack and turn it. Oops. I'm going to turn it into a 40-bar simple and easy arrangement. The way that I like to work is once I have my main stack, typically this is going to be my chorus, the main section, whatever you want to call it. So I will simply copy over all of these parts to this section that I'm calling chorus. And from here on out, MacGyver's rule. Use what you have, make decisions quickly. I'm going to focus on the big rocks, make them fit this this bucket. I know my chorus is going to have all of these elements for sure. The verse, I certainly want the bass and the drums, right? I don't know what I want on the intro yet, or actually I do. I want to start with drums. Okay. The verse is going to have, for sure, our synth here. It's not going to have the lead. And maybe these pads, we can leave them for the bridge. And here in the bridge, we're going to have the drums and the bass playing. Okay, we have the lead here, the pad. And for the outro, we can do something very simple, which is we'll have our bass and the drums playing, the cowbell, and we'll bring back the lead with these chords as well, and simply fade out the track. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna write down my idea. Fade out the track. All right. So let's work on the levels of our chorus for the next few minutes. I'm gonna bring all my levels down, which is something that I typically do in my productions. When I'm doing arrangement and composition, I don't care too much about the levels and the effects and the automation and this or that. It's when I get into the specific mixing portion or process within my productions that I bring all the levels down and then think about them once more and see where it feels right to have them. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna bring the pads here. All right, so everything's down. Let me bring up my drums once more. There, sounds good to me. Yeah, there. There. Too loud. Okay. Now that we have the foundation of our drums, let's bring in the bass. Too loud. Okay. Let's bring in the chords. Too loud. Maybe there. Let's bring in the lead. Let me adjust the level of the keys, delay, mix, and repeats. And let me make the keys just a little dark so they don't step on the toes of our lead. High cut, low cut. That helps our lead poke through. cool. Okay, cool. I like where this is. I like where we're going. We're gonna need some drum fills, that's for sure. And what about a clap pattern for the bridge? Alright, let's take it to the bridge in the words of James Brown. To dry, let's send it to our drums reverb. Yeah, right there, it's cool. And what if, for the bridge, we changed our drum pattern to only play kicks and hats. I like it. Very cool. Let's give this a different color, and let's introduce another variation here on the second half. Let's have a kick on every downbeat. Nice. So the first half has the kicks as the original pattern. And here we feel it picks up the pace. Cool. All right. Let's do this. We have the intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outro. I'm gonna call the chorus done, the bridge done. Well, except for drum fills. Let's now work on the verse. The verse sounds very good to me. What I want to do here, just as attention reboots and to introduce a little bit more interest throughout these 8 bars, is sprinkle in a few notes from the lead kind of as a foreshadowing technique of what's to come. And I want to do it towards the end of bar 25 here. Something simple. Bum, bum, bum. Almost. And the same thing towards the end. Let's see. I just don't like them the second time around, don't know why. So I'm gonna get rid of them here, so they will only play first half. Oh, and something important is that I don't want the cowbell playing throughout the entire track, because we can get tired of it very quickly. But I do want it on the intro. All right. Nice. I like the verse. Simple. The chorus is done. Let's work on the intro, then the outro, drum fills, the fade out, and any other details that may need work. Sounds very good to me. What about some kind of drum fill here? Yeah. I'm going to create a VCA fader to control the level of all the toms at the same time. It's kind of like creating a group, same thing. And let's send all of these toms into our room reverb. Right there, sounds great. Okie doke. Yep. What about a short fill here towards the end? Great. Going from the intro to the verse sounds a little abrupt. So what if there's a couple things we could do. We could start maybe with the keys. I like it. What we can do is automate these keys filter to start closed and open up gradually, or whatever shape we feel sounds good, and we open it up towards the end of the section. Okay, for now, let me write that down. Filter in keys during intro. And you know what? Let me take care of that right away. Stuff like this, sometimes I write on this notepad and leave towards the end. But for now, I'm gonna take care of it right away. Okay, this is the frequency cutoff. This is its normal level. So I'm gonna pull it down like so and tweak the curve. Nice. Very cool. And you know what? Just for fun, let me duplicate this. We'll fade it out just to give ourselves a little bit more room to enjoy the outro. And let me work on the drum fills and then the fade out. I want drum fills here, here as well, here. Sounds good. Another fill here. I like it. And here, I could create 2 or 3 more fills, so I alternate between different ones every time, but just in the interest of time, let me recycle the fills, like so. Let me create a tiny gap here. Nice. Great. So that's the drum fills. I call the intro done, the outro done, except for the fade out. So let's do that right now. You know what? Before we do that, let me just do a final couple things here. I'm gonna go to my drums bus. I typically have my bass and all my drum sounds, including the drum reverb, going into the drum bus. And let me apply here some tape, some saturation, and some compression to give the rhythm section more body. Any saturation plugin that you have, any tape plugin, will work for this. Now the bus compressor, I like to set it to 30 milliseconds attack, 100 milliseconds release, ratio 2:1, and I pull down the threshold until I can see like 2 dB of gain reduction, and I'm gonna apply a sidechain filter so the kick, the bass don't dominate the compressor action. Like there, it feels good. And I compensate the gain with the makeup knob. Nice. And I'll do something similar on the synth bus. Tape. A little bit of drive saturation. finally, a little bit of bus compression. Similar settings to my drum bus. Which is low ratio, 1.5 or 2 to 1. 1.5 in this case. 100 milliseconds attack. And the threshold, pull it down to where I see 1.5 dB of gain reduction. There, I don't want to go crazy with it. Nice. And finally, I also apply processing on my mix bus. Same deal. Saturation. And a bus compressor, glue compressor. Same settings, 30 milliseconds attack, 100 milliseconds release, low ratio 1.5, sidechain active, and threshold just to where I get 2 dB of gain reduction. There. Okay, this is in great shape, my friends. The only thing we're missing for now is the fade out. I think somewhere around here we could start fading out the track. So with that, I created an automation lane. Too abrupt. Okay, hold on. I should start fading out earlier, I think, to end here and not have it sounding so abrupt. Nice. Let's listen to the entire outro. Nice. Maybe still a little bit too abrupt, but for this exercise, it'll be just perfect. Just perfect. All right. So everything I wanted to do, I've already done. And since we have a little bit more time to go, let me do a couple of things I almost never have time to do and show you a couple things as well. Okay, let me apply some compression to this snare. And any compressor you have will work. I just, have the tools that I like to use. And I'm going to put the compressor, in this case, before the reverb. And my default go-to settings for a compressor compressing a sound source such as drums, but specifically kick, snare, and toms, is like this. 30 milliseconds attack time to preserve the transients and to give the hits more punch. Release time of 50 milliseconds. Ratio 4:1. And then I'll bring the threshold down until I get between 3 and 6 dB of gain reduction. It just gives the sound more slap. Like more punch and power. All right. It is super windy here, and I'm sure you can hear that. So I gotta mute my mic from time to time. Same settings as with the snare. 30 milliseconds attack time, 52 millisecond release, or 50, it's the same thing. 4:1. Nice. And let's compress the hats as well. The hats are a little different than the kick and the snare, because I don't want to bring out the attack of the hats. Actually, I want to control them, make them rounder. So I'm gonna go with different settings. The attack, yeah, 3 milliseconds will work. Release 50 is fine. Ratio 4-ish. And let's bring the threshold down. Right. I feel like the toms could have more reverb. Once we have all the other elements playing at the same time, they tend to drown out and mask the reverb. Nice. This is in great shape, my friends. Okay, let me just go section by section to see if we missed anything before we do a final playthrough and call it a day. I feel like this part here could have a longer delay just for here, but I'm not gonna bother with that today. Nice. Cool. Nice. Okay. Awesome. So in the end, this is our piece, my friends. You saw how we went from creating a main stack or 8-bar loop with what, 4 or 5 different sounds or parts. Then we just created this quick and dirty arrangement of 40 bars. In the end, I extended it to 48 bars. And all the parts, to my ears at least, sound very good together. We used some very little automation, light automation here, automating the cutoff filter of this of the chords that play during the intro. Then we're fading out. If I this 40-bar arrangement is what I call a basic kata. And if I were to only focus on these 40 bars and make them the best that I could with effects and the automation, etc., I would invest at least a good 2 to 4 hours just working on this and making it the best it can be with the little elements that we have. But for today's exercise and show, we are at a great spot. It sounds very good to me. It feels very good to me. So without further ado, let's play this thing from top to bottom. Here we go. Wow, great stuff, my friends. I'm really happy with the results that we got today. Remember MacGyver's rule: use what you have and make decisions quickly. Use what you have, make decisions quickly. Drill that into your head. I hope that I didn't tire you out, wear you out by using MacGyver's rule. Keep going, make decisions quickly, use whatever you have at hand. Nothing's perfect. Good enough is good enough. Just get going. MacGyver's rule. One more time. With feeling. Use what you have. Make decisions quickly. That's all I had for today. See you next time, my friends. Keep synthwaving. Ciao.